This house is very dirty. We're doing the deck, whole exterior, the front walkway here. Pretty dirty. We're gonna get it cleaned up. Front steps, dirty. So this house is about as dirty as it can get. And typically on these homes, the customers are very, very happy when it's done. Take a look at that. Look at that. Well, maybe we'll even take down that.
Right there. Alrighty. Oh, still bypassing the reel. Duh. There's no water coming out of there because this hose is not connected to it. So I just hook here.
So I'm gonna pre-wet it, cool down the siding so the soap doesn't flash dry. Alrighty, I might have to remove these planter boxes here. Very dirty. Basically, this is pretty bad, so you want to soap, and let it sit. But you want to keep it wet. Luckily, temps are not too bad, so we can let it dwell longer without worrying if it's going to dry. Which allows us to do more square footage at a time. So we're going to soap the heck out of this. And they're going to get a brand new deck. All right. Yeah. So in a situation like this, if these people ever hear about anybody needing a job done, they're going to be so pleased. They're going to be so pleased that they're going to have no choice but to tell them that they know a guy who does an amazing job. Because there's no denying it when I'm done with this bad Larry. I might even trim that down. This is the worst side, so the window sills are pretty caked up. Usually if you maintain a property, you can just soap, let the soap do the work and rinse, but I may have to throw the ladder up just to give this a good rinse. Although it doesn't look too bad. So we're going to pre-treat the walkway. Let that dwell. See where we get with that. And if the hose can get stuck, it's just gonna get stuck. And That's how it goes. I'll pre-treat the front walkway, come back and scrub these gutters down. Oh. So as a courtesy, if you have gutters and they're not 1,000,000 feet long, standard home size, I just include a scrub down . Believe it or not, some people do charge extra. And people are so astounded when they're like, oh, you're gonna do it by yourself? But yeah, with the right equipment, I could do this from across the street. They think they're gonna, I don't know, maybe do a lesser of a job. In fact, if I do it myself, I don't have to remember to double check somebody else's work, which sometimes you just forget if you're not doing it. Because I know if I do it, it's getting done the right way. So I'm going to show you guys the whole process. So even, you know, future customers will be able to see these videos and make a sound judgment call. Should be good to rinse this side. You might have to knock the stuff down off the deck a little bit and re-soap it. So it looks like 90% of it's going to come down. I always do a second soap on the deck, so I don't have to worry about nothing. And believe it or not, when they're this dirty, I almost feel like the customer is going to actually feel better when it's done. Look at this. I soaped this down. This was pretty bad. I'll give that one more soap down when I touch up the deck. Even the dog's getting a house wash. And that one's free. So a service like this is extremely affordable when you can compare it to other services. And you're really just knocking down the organics. That hold the moisture on the house, they rot the wood. You know, sometimes there's bats in the siding. You know, periodic wash will kind of disturb whatever is going on. Knock down the moisture when it dries. And it's even more affordable when you call me a year later. Usually these customers, they wait, you know, sometimes up to 12 years for a wash. Some people do them every year. But as you can see, this house is going to look brand new when it's done. Brand new deck. Brand new table. Alright, so for now we'll call this good. There's still a little left. I'll soap it when I get to this side. Look at that. Wow. My hose reaches clean it when I do that. If not, I'll come back around and finish on this side. So when possible, you want to try to cover these up a little bit. Just so the water doesn't seep behind there. It's pretty exposed. We'll give this a little shelf so the water can go around it. So I just had a potential client call me. I'm going to look at their house in Hollis after my 2 drops today. And their biggest concern was, do you use ladders? And I said, yeah, if I need to use a ladder, I will. Although, I never really use ladders because the soap's going to do all the work. Like this house is 4 stories on this side, no ladder. I'm going to spray soap up there and it's going to take it all down. Mind you, if there's an area I can't get to rinse properly, you know, above a attached garage or a weird angle, I'll get on the ladder. There's no problem with that. But this top trim was so dirty 5 minutes ago, and it's almost perfectly clean. And I haven't rinsed it yet. So it's important to hire the right guy, you know? Because I'm soaping this side, I need to give this driveway a thorough rinse because this is soap in here, and once it dries, it's gonna leave a white film across this brand new driveway if it's not rinsed properly. So simple things like that are things that you learn along the way. To keep your customers' property in good shape. But these people are gonna be very happy with this one. These are my favorite. Sometimes the clean ones are actually more of a pain because they're looking at almost nothing. So they hyper focus on things that aren't really that bad. Now, this is pretty dirty on all sides. I post-treated this, doesn't look like it did much, so I'll have to surface clean this or use my wand over there. So I'm just applying the soap. Man, this is gonna be one happy house when I'm done with it. She's been waiting to be cleaned. And believe it or not, this is a standard, you know, what, 22 to 2,500 square foot house. And this is just about as bad as it gets. And I'm gonna be here probably for like 4 hours tops. It's like I was never even here. Surprisingly, there's not, you know, after so long, sometimes the insects, they get behind the shutters, you got hornets' nests, and you start washing them. And you can't really get all of it underneath the shutter, obviously. And it just starts leaching down, kind of like that. And when they're really bad, they just keep on dripping. Alright, I think that's enough soap. So let's do a little test spot on this bottom pad here, see what we can do. Alright, so this is a DN10 ball valve. What it does is just turns the water off. So I can remove the attachment, put on this. And when you're cleaning a lot of stuff, your hand actually hurts so bad after a while. That's why I have this tennis ball. I just put that in there. And it at least holds that portion. And then I just kind of hold it like that. This one's pretty old, so it's kind of ready to be changed out. So this is a 40-degree tip, white tip. Pretty the safest tip you can use for flat work. So my only concern is the mulch is too high here. So when I go to clean this, it's actually going to drip down. So it's hard to get right up against this because you're just going to blow mud right at your face. So you try to find the sweet spot there. Beautiful. Love seeing it. Yeah, this should be nice and easy to turn, so she's ready for a new one. Man. Can't beat the service for the value.